What's up, guys? Back again. We have another episode of Consume, or should I call this the Amazon show? Because boy, am I talking about Amazon a lot lately. And that's because Amazon is working at such a crazy pace that honestly, they're coming out with something so important to talk about almost on a daily basis that I'm getting to the point where Amazon is the only thing we're talking about here. This episode of Consumed is going to be talking about Amazon's new Accelerator program that they just launched last week. And this Accelerator is essentially Amazon's way of kind of telling the market that they are going all in on private labels and exclusive brands. Currently, Amazon has about 120 or so private labels. The vast majority of them are not called Amazon. I've said this before in videos. They do a pretty good job at kind of hiding their private labels. It's estimated that this year they'll do $8 billion in sales through their private labels. What's even crazier to think about is because of all these efforts, they're hiring a bunch of people, they're creating this accelerator program, they're beefing up their advertising within their own platform. I just saw they're bringing on some creative agencies to help them actually even accelerate their advertising spends on their own platform. Some analysts predict that Amazon will actually sell $25 billion in private label goods in the next 4 years. Myself, I tend to believe that number is a little bit low. I think it's going to be accelerated a lot faster. Looking at private label like CPG as a whole, you'll find that the compounded annual growth rate is actually about 3 times higher than branded products at this point. A lot of retailers, be it analog, brick and mortar, digital, as long as you guys have not been living under a rock, has seen that there's just a ton of different private label products in almost every category. And if you're a US watcher of this show, you might think, wow, this is kind of insane. There's so many private labels everywhere. But if we actually take a look at a place like the UK, that number grows to a shockingly big 45% of grocery CPG products are actually private labels. I don't know the exact number in the US at this point, but it's not anywhere close to that 45% number that's in the UK. So it's realistic to think that this private label kind of growth and just the further investment by retailers in private label is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And Amazon's kind of banking on these private labels to help them kind of create a moat around their business to kind of create like higher switching costs for people that are in the Prime system, not in the Prime system, that just enjoy the low prices. If you find a private label product that works well for you, especially like a consumable product that works well for your body or just taste-wise, things like that, you tend not to switch out of those, especially if that price is extremely low comparable to the branded product that you once bought. Amazon's effectively trying to create as much of a switching cost to these other like marketplaces or online retailers or just retailers in general that are kind of beefing up their e-commerce. Secondly, what Amazon's kind of doing with adding a lot more of these exclusive and private label products is essentially it's driving up a lot of their marketing services revenue. All of these sellers that are kind of on the Seller Central, the extremely popular ones have obviously built their business on the back of Amazon. When you're used to a certain level of success and utilizing a certain strategy plan to get that growth, you want to hang on to that as much as possible. And to do that now, Amazon is essentially kind of driving up the average cost of sale on those marketing vehicles for branded products or other sellers that are needing to compete now against Amazon. I just talked about this in a previous video in Europe where they're essentially looking at Amazon at this point and saying, hey, you are a market leader as both the seller of products and as a platform, and you're utilizing that power in a way that's just, anti-competitive. If you guys watch that video, you guys will know that I definitely don't like to walk down that line because I tend to believe that currently Amazon is driving prices down and that's good for the consumer. But I think it's important to note that conversation is happening currently while this accelerator program was announced. Amazon essentially, probably one of the most ambitious companies on planet Earth at this point. Their goal is to basically create this kind of like retail ecosystem that kind of is completely integrated from top to bottom. They want to be the manufacturer, want to be the warehousing, storage. They want to be the storefront, and they want to be the logistics. Now that we've covered kind of all this, let's talk about this Accelerator program and what this means to kind of the categories of nutritional supplements, functional foods, and beverage. If you guys click into the Accelerator program, it kind of shows and outlines some of the categories that they're focused on. Obviously, they're focused on a lot of categories that are just kind of larger in nature and just have a lot of high growth potential. And those include kind of the health and fitness, nutritional supplement, sports nutrition, all those kind of sections. Also food and beverage, kind of grocery categories, and everything ancillary in between there. You guys can read all the other categories. There's just a ton of other CPG categories that are a part of that, but let's focus on the ones that I primarily work in day in and day out. One thing I'd like to note is that, a few months ago when I started talking about this new R brand, sports nutrition brand that I saw launched on Amazon, this P2N product, what I ended up finding out later that day, and just kind of through conversations and some different networking contacts and things, what I ended up finding out was that these were being built by established brands in that sports nutrition industry. And I didn't want to talk about who those were. I also didn't want to comment about who started Own Power or any of the other ones that have kind of came out there with the sports nutrition or nutritional supplements. But I think at this point, most people in the know can understand who those players are. And now that this is public, this Accelerator program is public, what you know now is that these brands were, as market leaders, were kind of able to be introduced to this program on kind of an early adoption test phase before they announced this publicly. If you guys look through the link, there's not a lot of information at this point. I think that they are holding a lot of it behind this kind of paywall or approval system. So a lot of the intricate details are not out there. What I would say is there's probably a good amount of value exchange that is happening between these brands that are starting these exclusive or private label brands for Amazon, and Amazon giving them valuable real estate on their website. And what I can assume is that Amazon will have some type of trigger events within their contract in this Accelerator program that essentially will give them the opportunity to kind of purchase these brands and kind of fully integrate them into the Amazon family. But right now, a lot of those details are just not there, just because this is still in its infancy. There's just not a lot of history involved here. So though maybe there are some contracts and things that people have seen by the market leaders, still haven't seen what this actually is going to look like in the future. And I know the two questions I'm going to get from clients after this video, either potential people or networking connections, they're going to ask, do I think there's going to be a lot more of these private labels on Amazon's marketplace? And the answer to that is definitely yes. I don't know how selective they're going to be with the partners that they pick. I would assume at the beginning they're going to be extremely selective, pretty similar to like the vendor central type of relationship that they had at the beginning. If there are going to be a lot more, what does that do kind of to my business? And that's kind of unproven at this point. If you look at some of the early products that were in this program, especially on kind of the sports nutrition area, though these sales have accelerated pretty quickly, they're still not kind of at the pace of kind of market leaders at this point. And the value propositions and just the way that they're kind of created are tend to be pretty different than certain categories of products, especially ones that are more geared towards the advanced users, or just utilizing a lot of like branding elements to create pull off of the platform. Those differentiation points could in the future be eroded depending on Amazon and how they utilize their real estate on their on their platform in terms of the listings, or these partners that they pick actually cloning certain advanced brands and kind of creating an environment that looks and feels much like the direct-to-consumer or specialty nutritional categories. And then lastly, the question is going to be, should I submit an application for this Accelerator program? And I think, again, this is probably a yes for most people. And the reasons why I believe this is one, you're going to have a lot of access to some prime real estate on the Amazon platform. Real estate that these brands already pay an arm and a leg for to get to that point. And if you're able to utilize and get this real estate for free, even though trust me, it's not going to be free in the end if some of these trigger events happen. At this point, it's going to give you the opportunity to honestly learn and test different theories within a controlled environment. If you guys have worked with me in the past or just listened to some of my content, you know that I'm big on kind of testing and creating different minimum viable products and kind of seeing how they react in the market, understanding digital feedback loops, and just being able to utilize the power of just commerce and e-commerce today. If you can insulate this new brand within your portfolio and you have the resources available in your portfolio to launch a new brand and kind of get enough momentum around it to get the proper amount of data out of this test, I think you go full-heartedly into this. There is nothing to say that you can't own other brands or take what you learned from this Accelerator program and start different brands. You can, at this point, kind of do whatever you want in the market. There's just so many opportunities for you to create and test things in this digital commerce kind of environment. So, we'll obviously sit and wait and see how this is going to happen. I think this is going to move pretty quick. We're going to see some results fairly soon. I'm interested to kind of see what other market leaders kind of lean into this and kind of see what the power is behind this. I'll make sure that I'm paying attention to this the best that I can. If you guys have listened to me rant about this Amazon topic this long, make sure you guys are smashing the thumbs up button. That helps me out a ton with the algorithm. And if you guys have not done this yet, I don't know why you haven't, but if you haven't yet, make sure you guys are hitting the subscribe button. That ensures you guys are getting all of my video content. I'm trying to put content out every kind of other day at this point, so make sure you guys are catching up on that. If you guys are getting value out of this, all I ask in return is that you tell a friend, you tell a colleague, share some of my videos, share some of my posts. Make sure that this content gets out to the most amount of people that can get value out of this. And that's the ultimate thank you that you could do for me. But I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.